This is regular old Kerbal Space Program. And this is Kerbal Space Program on Parallax. What? Hello everybody and welcome. Today we're going to talk about one mod for Kerbal Space Program, the original game, not Kerbal Space Program 2. Yeah, we're talking about one specific mod. Why do I dedicate one video to just one mod? Well, because it's actually a very special one. I mean, you've seen the intro. You see what a difference this makes. This is actually, in my opinion, a game changer. So, what is it? It's called Parallax 2.0 and it's a visual mod for Kerbal Space Program. And as you can see, it adds quite a few visuals. So the first thing you notice when you start a game and launch a vehicle on Kerbin, your home planet, you will notice the increase in vegetation. And it's a lot. I mean, that's a jungle out there, if we're being honest. And if you also have other visual mods, for instance Scatterer and Environmental Visual Enhancements, which I both have installed here, you will see a lot more beautiful stuff in addition to that. So, what else does this offer? Well, I've been a little bit spying on the internet already. Well, in the forum post where links the creator of that mod detailed the mod itself already. And I've noticed there might be something on the water now. And yeah, look at that. The oceans now have plants and seaweed and some weird kind of tentacle stuff. Maybe kraken stuff? I don't know. But what I do know is that it makes exploring the seas or on the water in Kerbal Space Program a lot more interesting than it is in the original game. But we do not only have an ocean on Kerbin, do we? Yes, we also have one on Laythe. So let's look at that, but first, I mean, look at the surroundings here when we're not even yet in the water. Look at all those weird mushroom-type trees. I have no idea what they're supposed to be, but they really look interesting, and it speaks of the creativity that went into the mod to create all of that. So really impressive work there, Lynx. And yes, of course, when we get closer to the shore, there is something else, and this looks like ice sheets? Weird, but okay, and yeah, I fell through it. Well, this is not the polished game, this is a mod, so there are some weird things to be expected, of course, but that's to be forgiven compared to what this actually offers you. So once we get clear of the ice, we can also start diving down, and yes, there is also vegetation in the oceans of Laythe. So if you're into Kerbal lore, maybe this is some confirmation of a life transplantation theory. What's it called? I know there is a very technical term for life moving from one celestial body to another, and that life was brought to Earth from somewhere else, and there is some scientific term for it, but I'm too lazy to look that up. If you know it, please put it in the comments and let my dumb brain know. It was a long week and I'm really tired. Thank you. Alright, so what else can we explore? Well, there is another planet with liquid, well, not really water, but some liquid type of ocean on it. And it's Eve, and boy, does it look different. If you remember how Eve looks like in the original or the unmodded Kerbal Space Program, it's just a purple ball of misery. But this looks, wow, like, it reminds me of some scenes in James Cameron's Avatar, the first movie, not the one that's going to come out. And yeah, this looks really beautiful and really weird also, but mainly beautiful, and it makes me now want to explore Laythe again. No, Eve I meant. But there is also other planets, of course. I'm not going to go through each and every one of them. I hope this convinces you that this mod might actually really be worth your time and check it out. but let's have a look at just two more. One is Vall, and it's an icy moon of Jool, the Jupiter analog in Kerbal Space Program. And when we look at it and try to land on it, and failing miserably because I was landing on an incline, and yeah. Well, at least while we were rolling down the hill and I'm desperately trying to upright this thing again, we can see some beautiful crystals, and if we look closer, they're semi-transparent. Wow! Well, that's actually nice attention to detail. Maybe this can also give us some hint as to the composition of that crystals. If you are a crystallologist, geologist, chemist, I don't know. What are the scientists that have to do with crystals that grow out of the earth? If you're one of these persons, let me know what type of crystals could form these types of formations. To round all of this up, let's visit one of the mainstays, one of the most favorite planets in Kerbal Space Program. It's, yes, of course, Duna. It's the same vehicle I tried on Vall, but this time we're going to land safely. Yes, there we go, we're landing, and if you've looked closely, already on approach we saw that the surface looks a little bit different, of course, than from the original. And now that we're landed, let's get to exploring it a little bit more. I've released a little rover, you can see here, and in the meantime, our brave Kerbal goes to explore the surrounding, and would you look at that, those scattered rocks can actually be climbed on. Well, that's neat, but that's not the default behavior of the Parallax mod. I have to inform you that if you want your Kerbals to climb these rocks and for the rovers to get stuck on them like I am here, so this increases the difficulty of the game with this mod significantly. If you want that, then you have to edit the configuration file for the mod, which is located in the game data folder in the Kerbal Space Program folder. And within the mod folder, there's a config folder, and in there is a config file. And you just have to change one parameter from false to true. And since I set that to true, my rover now has quite a hard time getting across surface that is not really flat. This makes for interesting terrain exploration, and I can't wait to try out a rover with a little bit more robust suspension system. But yeah, this is my short little presentation of the Parallax mod. What do you think about it? Will you install it on your computer? Will you try it out and try to see how Kerbal Space Program can look? Well, you should. One thing this mod does, though, is put additional pressure on the developers of Kerbal Space Program 2. If you remember the announcement video from May, where they said that the game will come out in 2023, they said they have to take their time because, among other things, and I quote,
"The graphics have to be peerless."
Well, at least for terrain details and terrain art, there is a peer in the house, and he is called Lynx, and he has produced the Parallax mod, and it's really impressive. As for other graphics and visual mods, there is, as I already mentioned, Scatterer, and there is also environmental visual enhancements, which is also maintained by the Scatterer developer BlackRack, and he is working on true volumetric clouds, and those look amazing. I have to admit, these modders really give the Kerbal Space Program 2 developers a bit of run for their money, because while Kerbal Space Program 2 looks great in the footage that we have seen so far, I mean, these mods are done by people in their free time on their own, and they manage to produce something really wonderful with that. And it makes me happy that our now more than 11-year-old space game, Kerbal Space Program, the original, should we call it Kerbal Space Program 1 or the original, or while they still not have released Kerbal Space Program 2, just call it Kerbal Space Program? I am confused, what should I call it? Well, what I meant is that it makes me happy that the old game is still being loved so much and that people still invest so much time in it and make it better. And my hope is, of course, that this is also going to come true for Kerbal Space Program 2, starting next year sometime. But until then, at least we can enjoy the beautiful new world that opens for our original Kerbal Space Program, thanks to the developers of these wonderful visual mods. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel for more and follow me on my social thingies. The links are in the description. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.